Welcome back to the podcast, and eerily beloved, we are gathered here today with
Mom,
the Jester,
and Liam.
And today's Easter Sunday. We're here as a family to talk about not Easter things. We're talking about the Martin family disappearance. Has anyone heard about that before?
No.
I haven't. Is it similar to like the Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. like family getting swallowed though?
I have not heard about this.
No?
Okay, tell us about it.
So on the surface, the case itself seems pretty self-explanatory, but the more you get into the details, it's kind of hard to ignore the laundry list of questions that still to this day don't have any answers. And this is considered one of Oregon's most notorious cold cases, and that had people like former Multnomah County Sheriff's Detective Walter Craven obsessively pursuing each tip, revisiting sites, and conducting countless witness interviews in hopes to finally solve the case once and for all. Unfortunately, he was never able to, but personal notes and thousands of hours of investigation records compiled in his personal notebook dedicated to the case point us in the direction of who they thought might have been responsible.
Wow, so it's still a cold case.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm excited. Go ahead.
Ken and Barbara Martin had 4 kids, Donald, 28, who lived in New York, Barbie, 14, Virginia, 12, and Sue, 10, and they loved Christmas. Every year, Ken handcrafted giant candy canes as holiday gifts for friends and neighbors, which in turn led their street to be nicknamed Candy Cane Lane. So it wasn't surprising to family and friends on December 7th, 1958, when they relayed to family they were probably not going to make it back for their weekly Sunday dinner plans because they were headed east on I-84 towards the Columbia River to spend the afternoon collecting greenery for Christmas decorations and to look for their tree. Neighbors reported seeing the family leave their house in their 1954 station wagon around 1:30 that afternoon. On the morning of December 8th, Charlotte Dorsey, a second-grade teacher at Rose City School in Portland, received a call that her nieces had failed to show up for school that day. They weren't in her class but attended the same school. She hadn't heard from her brother, Ken Martin, that morning, but wasn't worried. Maybe the girls had gotten sick, or she just hadn't heard from him, so it wasn't that concerning. That evening, after still not hearing from anybody in the family, Charlotte made some calls to their mutual friends to try to figure out what was going on. One of these family friends, after hearing from Charlotte the girls were not at school, and in addition to learning that Ken didn't show up for work that morning, called into police around 9:30 p.m. They tell the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office that the day before they knew the family of 5 was going to the Larch Mountain area to collect materials for wreath making and to maybe look for their tree, and no one had seen any of them since. When police went to check their house, there was nothing indicating that the family did not intend to return home. Laundry was being done, dishes were in the sink, and meat had even been left out on the counter to thaw for dinner. A large amount of money was still in their bank account with no significant withdrawals leading up to the 7th, another thing that was unusual, leading officers to suspect foul play.
Probably had that ground turkey getting that thawed out for dinner.
Mm-hmm. In the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
With little evidence to go off of, police immediately began searching on the night of December 8th at Large Mountain, the place where the family had told people they were spending the afternoon. The search conducted of the area consisted over 1,000 people, made up of friends, family, Forest Service volunteers, and law enforcement. Weeks went by and investigators finally got a break on December 23rd when a receipt dated for December 7th was sent by mail to the house. On this receipt, it claimed that 5 gallons of gas was purchased from a gas station in Cascade Locks, 20 miles east of Larch Mountain.
Okay, so they kept driving east.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Owner of the Cascade Locks gas station, 33-year-old Dean Baxter, remembered Ken and one of the girls going inside to use the restroom, and then they left, continuing east. Dean Baxter believes the time they were at the gas station was around 4 p.m. Clara York, a waitress at the Paradise Snack Bar in Hood River, another 20 miles east from the Cascade Locks gas station, is said to have seen and served the family that afternoon. It was a slow shift with only 2 other men in the diner, which is why she remembered them, and she chatted with the family, reporting that they were in good spirits that afternoon. She estimated that they were there around 4:15 to 4:45 and were at the diner for about an hour before going west, presumably returning home to Portland. So finally, to investigators, it seemed like they had somewhat of a timeline. With that in mind, they scoured through hundreds of tips that came flooding in. One man claimed to be on the Washington side of Bridge of the Gods near Cascade Locks that afternoon and claimed he had seen two cars collide. From what he could tell, one fell into the Columbia River while the other sped off. Initially, one of the cars matched the description of the Martins' vehicle, but after further investigation, that car was found on the side of the highway and wasn't in the river, nor was it the Martins' vehicle.
So why would the guy say such a
I
thing?
don't know.
I just looked up Bridge of the Gods. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, it's
What a name and what a bridge. Wow.
Okay. Thousands of search hours at this point from the team up and down the Columbia River uncovered no evidence of tire tracks that would lead investigators to assume that their car had fallen into the river, accidentally or otherwise. No foul play at this point was suspected, but it could not be ruled out. On December 29th, the Oregon Journal reports that Mr. and Mrs. Knutson had been going westbound on I-84 towards Portland around 5:30 on December 7th, when a red and white station wagon passed them. This in itself was unremarkable, but just a few minutes later, they saw the same car again pulled off on the side of the road, and they could see two people in the front seat sitting quite close. A few minutes after that, the station wagon was behind them for a period of time, nearly blinding them with their headlights, before going around them again. They last saw the station wagon pulled over with another car and two men talking to whoever was in the station wagon.
well, that sounds suspicious.
And that was an official tip that was sent in to the FBI. Many people called in after they reported seeing a 1951 white Chevrolet abandoned on the side of the road, locked and with keys still inside, a few miles east of Cascade Locks. This was around December 8th through the 10th. When police went to investigate, a black woman's glove was found 15 feet away from this car and is said to be one that Mrs. Martin is said to have worn before. The car's owner, Maria Alvarez from Venice, California, said a friend had borrowed it, a man named Lester Kenny Price. Lester Price was a former inmate at the Oregon State Penitentiary and had an extensive record for theft, burglaries, and forgery. After weeks of the car being on the side of the road, it was towed for processing on December 18th. And initially, this abandoned car was written off as being unrelated to the case. So, the two men that were also in the diner that same afternoon.
Were they the two men that were outside the car?
Great question.
How'd they know it was a black woman's glove?
No. A woman's black glove.
Oh, got it.
I felt like I heard the same thing.
Got it.
But I knew what she was saying afterwards.
A black woman's
Got it.
glove, not. A worker at the diner identified Lester Price as being one of the two men eating that day at the same time as the Martins. So the guy that was also the former
Suspicious.
inmate
Yeah.
at the Oregon State Penitentiary. That's just a coincidence, but strange. It gets weirder because Lester Price also had a connection to Donald Martin,
What?
the Martins' 28-year-old son who lived in New York. So the surviving member of the Martin family, Don Martin, remained in New York, serving in the Navy at Fort Schuyler Hospital throughout the investigation. He claims his aunt told him to do so, but when questioned, Charlotte Dorsey refuted the claim and thought it was odd that he didn't and never came to Oregon throughout the entire time his family had been missing. On December 29th, 1958, he stated in an interview, "I'm convinced they're all dead. They led good lives, my mother, my father, and my three sisters. What can I say? Probably next spring a forester or a camper will find their bodies."
Excuse
What?
me?
That's really weird.
Yep.
I would expect better sentiment from you.
If only they had Kalshi back then, you could have put a nice little bet on that.
Donald Martin had a strained relationship with his parents. While he was currently in New York serving, originally his parents wanted to send him to a Christian boarding college in Connecticut after finding out that he was gay and due to some trouble he had found himself in over the past few years. In 1953, he was allegedly caught stealing a .38 Colt Commander gun and $2,000 worth of merchandise from the Frank and Meyer department store he had worked at. Before this, he had no previous incidents and befriended a man he worked with named Wayne. Wayne and Donald became close friends through work, and he even claimed to be one of the few people Donald opened up to about his sexuality. Wayne worked as a PE teacher at Cascade Locks High School, which apparently is how he came to know Lester Price.
Okay.
Once again, the inmate from the Oregon State Penitentiary.
Is this like a Like
So
historical roommates type of thing?
it's it's a very loose connection to the two people, but
it's a connection.
very, very odd. And it gets weirder. At this point, police had theories, but none of them really fit together. It just seemed like they were missing pieces. After thousands of hours and miles covered, the Hood River Sheriff and most of those working on the case believe the Martins' car must have accidentally plunged into the river at Cascade Locks while backing up in the parking lot.
What?
Uh-huh.
That's the best they got?
Yep.
Backing up in the parking lot. Somebody doesn't know how to put it in reverse.
No, somebody knows how to put it in reverse. I don't know how to get it out.
So yeah, I guess it could have been a tragic accident. And given the area, it wasn't super unlikely if there was low visibility with it being dark later since it was December.
Yeah, but it was...
Weather conditions.
They saw him pass Cascade Locks at 4:30. It wasn't dark then. I mean, even on a dark, gloomy day in Oregon, it's not dark then.
Yeah. So Detective Walter Graven was still not so quick to write off the case as just simply an accident. There were too many missing pieces to the story. For people like him, the more random bits of evidence that weren't the car that showed up, the more outlandish the theories about what happened had become. Where were the Martins, and where was their car? So in January 1959, a man named Theodore had been walking around the area where the white Chevy was that they had found, that belonged, that Lester Price had been driving.
Right. That was on the side of the road.
Uh-huh. When something in the dense brush caught his eye, no one was more shocked than him when he reached down and pulled up a gun, the butt of it absolutely covered in dried blood. He discovered only one bullet of the 9 had been discharged, with the casing still remaining in the gun. Theodore's wife Bonnie is reported as saying it was completely coated with dried blood from whatever they had clubbed. They had to have clubbed something to death, apparently. When Theodore gave the gun to police, it was never processed as evidence. No photos were taken, and instead it was cleaned and returned to him.
Stop it. Okay, first of all, how did someone not even find that when they were looking December 18th? Okay.
Hey, dude, your gun's kind of dirty. We cleaned it for you. Here's a bag.
Mm-hmm.
With the shell casing.
They did write down the serial number, but other than that, they just cleaned it and gave it back to him. Didn't test the blood, didn't take a picture, didn't.
Dang, I know
keep
the
the
cops were a
casing.
cleaning service.
Yep.
All right.
Months later, when they realized this could potentially be related to the case, after running the serial number that they did write down, they realized it was the .38 Colt Commander, the same gun that Don Martin was accused of stealing years before from the Frankenmeyer department store.
Coincidence.
Mm-hmm. J.B. Fisher, who wrote Echo of Distant Water, said Detective Walter Graven had definitely considered Donald, if not a suspect, at least a person of interest.
For sure.
And still at this point, his bosses told him to drop it because it had already been considered written off as an accident.
Yeah. And
so they were not investigating it any further.
And months had gone by.
Even though they didn't find the body or the car or...
None of the bodies.
They found a gun.
With a missing bullet and blood on it.
Come on.
And
I mean, it's like a wild animal, though.
Would have had to kill someone.
Well, they wouldn't know. They didn't test it.
And the gun jammed. That's tough.
And it just so happened to be...
The first bullet?
The same gun.
That his son
That
stole.
the son of the missing family had stolen. Yeah, it was crazy.
Crazy
and that the son
coincidence.
said that they were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On Friday, May 2nd, 1959, fisherman Ellery Colby saw something in the river moving slowly downstream, about 40 miles west of Cascade Locks. It looked like a bundle of clothing. The next day, the body of Susan Martin was found in the river near the Camas
Slough. So all the way down in Camas.
In Washington, on the Washington side of the river. Following day on Sunday, May 4th, Virginia's body was found above the Bonneville Dam. Autopsy in the 2 youngest Martin girls' bodies showed that the official cause of death was drowning, and the contents of their stomach verified waitress Claire York's original statement
they had eaten.
They had in fact eaten at the diner. However, an earlier autopsy revealed something else, conflicting with what the official statement was. J.B. Fisher again reports that the autopsy report says, in describing the photographs, that one of the photographs shows Virginia Martin with a hole in the head, and that left a question there. A police report also noted that both girls had something that looked similar to bullet holes in their heads, but this information was not included in the official report, with the girls' official cause of death being drowning.
Must have been the wild animals.
Mm-hmm. Detective Graven insisted that the river be searched after it was reported that on the afternoon of May 1st, so before the bodies had been found, near Mosier, a boat was dropping its anchor and suddenly it hit something that was not the river bottom. When they attempted to bring whatever it was they had caught back up towards the surface, they recalled it being quite large, and then it rolled off the anchor. Originally, this was not reported, and
Probably the car.
only after the discovery of the bodies a few days later did the men realize it could be connected to the Martin case. And this had detectives thinking, was there disturbance of this object the reason for this girl's body suddenly resurfacing? Or suddenly
breaking free.
surfacing,
Yeah.
Due to the depth and the dangerous currents of this area, dives in that area were called off when they were attempted, and Detective Graven was told to let the case go. The autopsy more or less confirmed that this was an accident and just let the family.
Wait. I thought the autopsy was bullet holes in the head.
Well, that was
Unofficial.
unofficial.
I don't know if it...
Hey, we're just going with the...
Mm-hmm.
They have some 90-year-old examiner doing the official one?
We're in the late 50s and case closed.
Mm-hmm. A memorial service was held for the two Martin girls with over 300 people in attendance. Donald Martin, however, was not there. This once again made Detective Graven side-eye the only remaining Martin family member. However, in June 1959, apparently the only thing that would finally bring him back to Oregon was settling the estate.
Of course. Money.
Donald received a payout of about $36,000, which would have been about $375,000 today. He went on to move to Hawaii to be a school teacher, marry, and have children of his own. And his youngest daughter is reported as saying, "There's chapters of this family's history that we do not discuss." And Don Martin passed away in 2004.
$36,000 is $370,000 today.
Ish. Rough.
Yeah, in the late 50s, I bet. Yeah.
I didn't do the calculation. I got that from a newspaper. So.
Imagine being able to work minimum wage and afford a house in 2 years. Just buying outright.
Yeah.
Could not be me. All right. That's it.
Well, it's called the American Dream.
Yeah, here's 2 bottle caps and a piece of gum I found in my pocket. This is down payment.
So meanwhile, the sisters' remains were unclaimed for over 10 years before a distant family member claimed them. So he did not even...
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
You didn't claim them?
Nope.
Settled the estate, got his cash, and dipped? What a loser.
In 2017, independent diver Archer Mayo took an interest in the case and prompted the Hood River Sheriff's Office to look back into where the car could be. Most of Mayo's research was into the original construction of the locks, and in this he discovered an 83,000 square foot pit in the canal around where the car allegedly should have been. He received the permits to dredge this area and estimated at this point the car would have been about 6 to 10 feet under the riverbed. Finally, on March 7th, 2025, crime scene tape surrounded the Cascade Locks Marine Park, and police verified that they had removed pieces of the Martin station wagon.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
No
Finally
human
got
remains
closure.
were found in the car, however.
Well, it's been, what, like 70 years?
But Archer Mayo also pulled artifacts out of the riverbed surrounding the car, one being an old camera with Kenneth Martin inscribed on the case. Detective Walter Graven indicated in one of his many notebooks dedicated to the case and said the case, in quotes, will be solved if I live long enough for the car and bodies to be found. But he died in 1988 and never got to see it be solved.
Oh, no.
Another thing found in his notebooks, a line that read, "It had to be planned out by blank," with the name completely scratched out in pen. No one else with a motive.
I think we know what that name is.
That's on. Okay, so where are we now?
And that's it.
What?
Yep.
Wait.
No, that's not good enough.
That's the most recent, and it was recently in the news, well, 2025, March of last year, because that's when they
dredged
pulled,
the
and they tried to pull up the car, but it,
disintegrated probably. I mean,
yeah, it didn't disintegrate, but like the hood came off, and so they would have to go back in and try again, but because it was under so much, and just the river conditions and all that, it was just not as easy as they were anticipating. So that's why it had taken so long.
I mean, I feel so bad for the family because all these years without justice and no one claiming the girls' bodies. And
Mhm.
yeah, probably those fishermen
Dislodged
A-
the car
yeah,
enough for something
having their
to-
anchor hit it, it probably
Mhm.
dislodged it enough where they would have. That's horrible.
What are
Mhm.
the odds of that happening though? Just dropping anchor, finding the car somehow.
No, I mean, it's a miracle for
Yeah.
them. But
Yeah.
I mean, at least that way the family was able to somewhat get answers, or
whatever
At
family was
least-
left.
yeah. Well, they did have a lot of family in Portland, so it is strange that the remains went unclaimed. But maybe it was, oh, we think the brother took them. Why wouldn't he? So they. it was
Sure,
just
that would make
strange.
sense. I mean,
And I think they were only ever claimed after Grandma died, and she was also buried in the same, or like held in the same place. And then they're like, oh, let me take the girls.
I don't know. I mean, the son kind of got off
I know.
scot-free.
exactly.
He got a huge
Very-
payout, got away with a murder, lived his whole life, had kids,
Very suspicious.
died, and then 20 years later he gets
There were
dredged
just
up.
a few too many coincidences
But he
for it
did
to
die
be
pretty young.
for it to even be
Not that
considered.
young.
I mean,
he was
he was 30
he was 28 in 1950
in the 50s, and then he
Yeah.
died in 1988. So, I mean,
2004.
2004.
oh, okay.
He lived a pretty good life.
He lived way longer than he should have.
Yeah. Lived about
If
50
not
years
getting
longer than he
caught.
should have.
I mean, that just worries me about the police and efforts to actually close the case.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think about believability, I mean, obviously it's believable. I mean, we know it's like a real, true story, right? I would like to see the end of the story or hear the end of the story if that could happen.
I mean, but what would the end of the story be beyond what we already?
I don't know. Find the rest of the bodies. Look, we're still missing the dad and the mom,
Mhm.
right?
But
Yeah.
their condition
I'm just saying.
at this point.
I get it.
It would be like another soapification.
Right. We'll get into that whole discussion, I guess.
Well, no, not me.
So
I suck at
believability,
that.
obviously, it's believable. I mean, it's a real story,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Do we all agree? Like a 10.
It's a sad real story.
Real
I mean,
story, though.
it's facts. So
Facts.
Yeah.
But I think creepy.
can't believe they cleaned his gun off for him.
Yeah, I don't love
Hey,
it,
dude.
actually.
I think he lost this.
It's not creepy from a scary perspective, but creepy that you expect the people that are in law enforcement to do their duty, right?
Mhm.
They have a public service
I
duty.
mean, they only take like a 6-week class or something.
I'm just saying.
I mean, but it wasn't even the police that found the gun, or
Yeah. They were the
any,
ones
or
that
like
cleaned it,
called
though.
in the car. I don't know what they were doing.
They were the
but-
ones that were mishandling evidence.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I just feel like from a creepy, for me, it's not creepy scary. It's just creepy from you have a reliance on public servants to do their duty.
Mhm. And maybe Detective Graven is completely off base, and it wasn't the son, but at least he was looking into alternate possibilities instead of it just being an accident. He
Well,
didn't immediately believe that, and so
I think he just didn't believe in the random theory,
yeah.
right? That things, right? It was just a random.
Forgot to put it back in a drive in the parking lot.
Yeah. Come on.
But then because they found the car, it still doesn't really answer what happened.
Well, and I'm
Did they go off the road on accident? Were they driven off the road?
driven off the road, maybe.
Were they
yeah.
held at gunpoint?
Off
their
the
car
road
was
on
rolled off the road,
accident
yeah.
with
Yeah.
2 bullet holes.
And their car was rolled off the
Yeah.
road. I mean, I'm just glad that the diver
Mhm.
did all that extra work. That was a lot of extra work for the diver, knowing that, right, what they were going to find was
Oh, yeah,
gonna
I mean,
be
he's
minimal at best.
Just a private
Yeah.
citizen.
Yeah, he just took an interest in the case and said, I've been doing some research into the original construction of the river, and I think because of that, that's why this is so complicated. This is where I think they are. This is why. Let's compare notes. So had he not done that, it still would have been just nothing.
And I think it's to people like you that bring these stories up. I mean, I think it's awesome.
That's why
Yeah.
I was surprised you hadn't heard about this before, because it has been in the news quite a bit.
Yeah, back and forth
And-
over the years, and I've
yeah.
never heard of it. But to hear about it and to know that people actually cared that weren't really related to it, but
Mhm.
just cared enough about the work that they do.
Mhm.
I think that's awesome.
Still pretty disappointed in the cops.
Me too.
I feel like that detective probably went to his grave.
Worked so hard.
Yeah. Well, I even read an article about his son, and his son has all the notebooks, and that he was able to pass them off to this author, which is where a lot of the source material comes from. But yeah, they dedicated, like, even
Great
their
for him
children.
to have life's work.
Yeah. Or journalists who are taking photos, and all that stuff is collected too. But yeah,
I wonder who scratched out the name in a private diary though, because like it wouldn't have been used in court or anything. So him implicating somebody wouldn't have been an issue.
There's a picture of it too.
It's like a different pen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just blacked out.
He's writing in like blue.
That's awesome. So it's just blacked out.
Yeah, he's writing in blue and it's blacked out with a marker.
So they're just showing that. Yeah, just I think partly.
Yeah, no,
for the guy's privacy,
will
right?
be solved if I live long enough for the car and bodies to be found.
Dead or not, though, pin it on.
So, using computer photo enhancement, this is what this article says. J.B. Fisher determined the name scratched out was Donald. But they don't know why the name would have been scratched out by him, because like you said, it was a personal...
I think someone else scratched it out or something.
But... yeah, it could have been to protect him because he was told to lay off.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, his son could have before he gave it off to the author.
I could see that.
That could have been, yeah.
Because, like, what if he was wrong? If they hadn't found the stuff in 2025, then.
Right. And he didn't know that. He died not knowing.
Yeah.
He didn't know any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And there are a lot of internet sleuths, though, that think Detective Graven's theories kind of hurt the case because they were wildly off base in some ways, because he was very much it's the sun instead of looking into alternate avenues and other theories. So he was kind of laser focused on this, and so could that have been detrimental? But the real tip was the gas receipt that in those days were mailed back to the houses.
That's crazy.
So had that not happened, they wouldn't have known
that they went
that far east, because they were never
intended to go that far.
40 miles further east than they intended to. So
I mean, the son was probably like the one suspect that the detective could like latch on, though, because anything else doesn't make sense. There's no motive.
No,
like a whole family.
Yeah,
but it's weird that there was no one else.
Yeah, but like they didn't have money on them. They didn't have.
It was winter. I mean, and nobody's there.
Christmas,
they didn't steal the car. The car went in the river.
Only 2 people in the diner happened to be people that were
connected to them loosely.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He had a whole separate life. Like, it feels weird that he would even like care enough to do that.
Well, care enough. Maybe he resented his parents. We read that, right? They were going to send him to a private boarding school because he was gay. Back in that day, I could see where there would be probably pretty significant resentment.
Sounds like he needed it.
No
it wasn't
reason.
Just because he was gay. It's because he stole the gun.
No, I get it.
Okay, well, that was the case of the Martin family, and thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Eerily Beloved Podcast, and if you have any cases you want us to look into, or you have any scary stories of your own, please email us at eerilybelovedpodcast@gmail.com.
Were you gonna add the Pizzler strikes again?
No, all I was gonna say was, it's eerily beloved, but I think it's one of those things where I appreciate that you bring up these cases, even if they're unsolved, that people hear about. Like, bring it back up.
As in, if you have any others
unsolved,
let us know. Is that what you're saying?
That we would like people to hear about. Give them some reach. Like,
I mean, I do kind of like a conclusion on my cases.
Me too. I like
that was a conclusion.
It was.
No. What?
It was. They found the car. They closed the case.
Where's the man? Where's the wife?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Probably 15 feet under the riverbed at this point.
It's not a clean conclusion, but it is a conclusion nonetheless, unfortunately.
Truth.
Well, and even if they found something, the son's dead, so like, who are they going to pin it on?
I get it. It's more about the lessons to be learned.
Well, and someone else acted with the son because the son wasn't there.
Maybe that's true. Maybe they have the daughters of the son pay reparations. I want my $36,000 in today's dollars back.
Okay, thank you for listening, and see you next week. Okay, bye.